Before the drill bit met Earth, the lure of Blind Frog Ranch hovered like a silent promise. Known to locals mostly as empty scrubland, whispers persisted, fragmented reports of mineral anomalies, unusual magnetic readings, and a cavernous void detected by seismic surveys. A veteran geologist, driven less by scientific curiosity than by mythic impulse, rallied a skeptical team. Engineers, drill operators, environmental specialists, and an intuitive guide with an uncanny rapport with the land. To these individuals, the barren acreage concealed more than surface dryness. It held the possibility of a conduit, an underground chamber loaded with geothermal energy, likened to a natural reservoir of fiery potential. Explorers have long sought such geological phenomena, but seldom in such isolated, uncharted territory. The project wasn't merely about what lay beneath. It was about what that underground might mean for the relationship between human technology and ancient Earth forces. Surveying the past preparation took weeks. High-resolution, ground-penetrating radar, magnetometers, and gravimetric sensors converged on the site, searching for deviations in density and electromagnetic signatures. Each measurement was a tentative step toward a revelation, an irregular vertical space, deep enough to qualify as a cavern, lurking almost centrally in the target zone. Yet this space refused to conform to logic. It exhibited thermal fluctuations suggestive of geothermal activity, but without surface manifestations like hot springs or fumaroles. Chemical analysis of nearby subterranean water samples hinted at slightly elevated mineral content. Again, no smoking gun anomaly, just an inexplicable undercurrent of possibility. Meanwhile, the ranch itself held tenuous whispers of earlier cultures. Scattered flint shards, faded glyphs on sandstone outcroppings, and oral histories from regional indigenous communities suggested the area had been acknowledged for centuries, if not millennia, as something more than empty desert. Some believed it hid sacred hollows where ancestors communed with spirits or accessed underground waters. The scientific team, originally driven solely by a desire to tap a geothermal energy zone, now found themselves entwined in a larger tapestry, one of history, ritual, and place-based reverence. Drilling into silence when the drilling began, the hush of midday desert was broken by mechanical rasping as the rig bit into strata layers laid down eons ago. Beneath red sandstone lay chalky limestone, then siltstone indicating intermittent ancient lakebeds, and further down, darker, older Paleozoic formations. The drill's sensors transmitted data in real time. Each meter descended, adding color to the geological picture. At 320 feet below the surface, the drill suddenly plunged into a void. Pressure dropped, cuts changed texture, and inside reports indicated an open space. The crew gathered, hearts pounding with awe. Without direct sight, they relied on probe arms and specialized cameras to explore what lay ahead. What they discovered was breathtaking. A cavern, roughly 40 feet across and gently funneling deeper, its roof festooned with solitary stalactites, their mineral hues telling tales of slow drip after unimaginable drip. On the cavern floor lay smooth eroded terraces, like benches carved by ancient subterranean streams. Tiny calcite incrustations shimmered in the LED probe light. Thermal readings hovered just above ambient, hinting at circulating heat, but apparently below what one would expect from an active geothermal reservoir. In the heart of the cavern, that cavern, once accessed, became both laboratory and cathedral. Humidity inched upward, air tasted of limestone and earth, timbers creaked under the weight of equipment and the weight of wonder. The team recorded acoustic properties, noticing that the cave produced resonances akin to song, a curious, natural echoing frequency. At certain pitches, the cavern seemed to respond, as if amplifying sound waves in harmonic vibration. The engineers speculated that the cavern's geometry, a long, sloping funnel of crystalline rock, might concentrate both acoustic energy and subtle geothermal gradients. Sensors placed at strategic positions detected slight yet persistent temperature shifts over a 24-hour cycle, potentially the result of deep earth conduction. It was as though the cavern functioned as a natural amplifier of terrestrial energy, an energy zone where ambient geological forces converged and coalesced. The guide, steeped in local lore, spoke quietly of the Old Ones, ancient peoples who revered these places and may have harnessed them ritually or observationally. She referenced traditions of the canyon dwellers, who believed in subterranean portals manned by animal guardians, frogs, in this case, symbolizing thresholds and life brought forth from hidden waters. The resonance of waterborne life and echoing stone held poetic synergy with what the team was witnessing. Between science and spirit in the days that followed, a curious blending occurred. Engineers calibrated probes, geologists took rock samples, environmental specialists monitored gas composition. Meanwhile, the guide performed soft, unstructured rituals, quietly singing in ancient tongues, walking the cavern's full circumference. No overt religious proceedings. These acts uninterrupted by speech, yet saturated with reverence. In one moment, the drill bit was still, the cavern stale with anticipation. A distant creak echoed and rippled through the void. The team paused. Sensors recorded a subtle wave of low-frequency vibration, as if the cavern itself had answered their presence, or perhaps welcomed it. Speculation burgeoned. Was this a natural acoustic resonance? A subtle shifting within the sandstone roof? Or something beyond measurable causality? Something the ancients might have recognized as a living voice? Promise and precaution beyond the aura of mystery. The practical implications were significant. If the cavern truly contained a stable geothermal gradient with acoustical energy amplification, it presented a potential blueprint for sustainable energy generation, low impact and internally regulated. Unlike traditional geothermal wells, this installation tapped into a natural acoustic geothermal resonance, reducing the need for brute force drilling or artificial heat exchange loops. Yet along with opportunity came obligation. The site lay within a fragile ecosystem. Blind Frog Ranch itself served as seasonal habitat for rare amphibians, birds, and reptiles. Like a dormant dragon's nest, the cavern held within it an ecological and cultural balance. The team recognized that any attempt to harness its energy needed to be low impact, reversible, and community sensitive. They drafted plans for a pilot microturbine system using minimal infrastructure, a small intake pipe into the cavern capturing slightly warmed air, fed to an underground turbine. Second, an acoustic energy harvester, piezoelectric membranes placed where resonance was strongest. Both systems would operate without major excavation, relying on existing natural architecture. Environmental monitors would guard against disturbance to wildlife, and indigenous stakeholders would be actively consulted for any cultural dimension. In parallel, a plan emerged for a visitor center, designed not as a tourist attraction, but as a learning hub. Interpretive displays on subterranean geology, acoustic resonance, indigenous cultural connections, and the disciplined respect required when engaging such places. The resonant aftermath months after the initial breakthrough, the pilot system was installed. Tiny piped currents carried air warmed by cavern resonance, turning laminar flow turbines barely larger than kitchen spinners. Acoustic plates hummed softly in concentric rings. The system produced enough electricity to power a small camp and sensors, proof of concept not profit. Meanwhile, the cavern itself remained undisturbed in all but its original probe holes. The team relocated their rig away from the site, leaving as much of the desert undisturbed as possible. Continuous monitoring showed no ecological disruption, no thermal runaway, no cracking of ancient stone. In fact, the cavern seemed to fall silent without drilling activity, resonance fading to a low, distant tone. Perhaps the most striking outcome came when the cavity was scanned again for seismic anomalies. The cavern resonated at harmonic frequencies rarely associated with natural caverns of its size, patterns which one researcher compared to Tibetan singing bowls or crystalline lenses. Some theorized that either unique geological layering or silent fractures channeled sound and heat in ways not yet fully understood. A template for thoughtful discovery drilling, the Energy Zone's cavern at Blind Frog Ranch was neither a triumph of conquest nor a superficial scientific stunt. It was a meditation on restraint, respect, and curiosity. By entering the cavern slowly, listening for what it might say before imposing our will, the team forged a template for how science can engage with the sacred, without desecration, without assumption. The desert remains undisturbed, its sandstone folded like dusty pages. A low drone of airflow through subterranean tunnels may or may not carry a whisper. There are no guided tours, no souvenir shops, only the promise of knowledge and the gentle hum of an experiment that softly powered itself. Nearby, the ranch's cattle with their quiet moans treat the project as a distant storm, noticed but unfazed.